Stop waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is a lie told by people who are too afraid to start. Stop waiting for a sudden bolt of lightning to strike you with motivation, because motivation is a fair weather friend that will abandon you when the storm comes. You have clicked on this audio because deep down in your gut, you are frustrated with the reality you have built for yourself. You look at your bank account, you look at your physical reflection, and you look at your daily habits, and you see massive potential that is slowly starting to rot. You have tried to change this narrative before. You bought the expensive planner, you watched the motivational videos, and you made promises to yourself at 2 a.m. But 3 weeks later, you found yourself back in the same bed, scrolling through the same social media apps, and living the same average existence. The reason you fail is not because you lack ability, but because you are relying on a fleeting feeling called motivation. Motivation is weak and temporary, but discipline is reliable and permanent. If you truly want to tear down your old life and build a cathedral in its place within 6 months, you do not need to get excited. You need to get serious. You need to become the type of person who executes the mission regardless of how tired, cold, or uninspired you feel in the moment. Give me 6 months of your undivided attention and absolute focus, and I will hand you back a life that you do not even recognize. The clock starts now. Chapter 1. Why Your Life Has Not Changed Yet. Before we can even begin to construct the new architecture of your existence, we must first ruthlessly examine the crumbling foundation upon which you currently stand. If you are listening to this audio right now, it is because your foundation is cracked and unstable. Most people go through their entire lives operating under the delusion that their lack of success is due to external circumstances beyond their control. They believe the economy is too difficult to navigate, or their boss does not understand their genius, or they simply do not have enough hours in the day to accomplish their goals. I need you to understand right now that these are comfortable lies you tell yourself to protect your fragile ego from the truth. The reason your life has not changed is not because the world is conspiring against you, but because you have become addicted to your own comfort and mediocrity. The human brain is not designed for success and high performance. It is designed for survival and energy conservation. Your brain wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you warm, and it wants to burn as few calories as possible. Every single time you try to step out of your routine to do something difficult, your brain triggers a resistance signal because it views change as a threat to your safety. You are currently stuck in a biological cycle of homeostasis where you have a set baseline for how much money you earn, how fit you are, and how much work you produce. Whenever you try to exceed that baseline, your subconscious mind pulls you back down to where you feel safe and familiar. This is the reason why you go to the gym for 2 weeks and then quit the moment you get sore. This is why you start a business project with high energy and then abandon it when the novelty wears off. You are not fighting the world. You are fighting your own biology, and until you win that war, nothing will change. The addiction to victimhood. The most dangerous addiction in the modern world is not drugs or alcohol. It is the addiction to the victim mentality. It feels incredibly good to blame others because it absolves you of the responsibility to act. If it is your parents' fault that you are not confident, then you do not have to do the uncomfortable work to build confidence yourself. If it is the government's fault that you are broke, then you do not have to study finance or work longer hours to change your situation. But here is the brutal truth that you need to swallow if you want to survive the next 6 months. No one is coming to save you. No one cares about your problems as much as you do. The world will happily let you die average and forgotten if you do not demand more from yourself. If you want to change, you must look in the mirror and admit that you are the problem. You are the one who hits the snooze button every morning. You are the one who chooses to watch television instead of studying. You are the one who eats the food that makes you sluggish and weak. You must take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, even the things that are not your fault, because they are still your responsibility to fix. The dopamine trap. We live in an era where cheap dopamine is available on demand at every second of the day. Every time you scroll through social media, watch a short video, or eat processed sugar, you are flooding your brain with unearned pleasure. This destroys your ability to do hard work because your brain loses the capacity to delay gratification. Why would your brain want to focus on a difficult task for 3 hours when it can get the same chemical reward in 3 seconds by looking at a glowing screen? Your life has not changed because your baseline for stimulation is simply too high. You have forgotten how to be bored. You have forgotten how to sit in a quiet room with your own thoughts and work on a problem until it is solved. You are overstimulated, distracted, and underdisciplined. To change your life in 6 months, you must declare total war on these cheap distractions. You have to be willing to unplug from the matrix of instant gratification and relearn the ancient art of doing difficult things for a long time without applause. This is the first step of the metamorphosis. You must conduct a brutal audit of your life and identify every excuse, every distraction, and every person that is enabling your mediocrity. You cannot build a skyscraper on a swamp. We have to drain the swamp first. The cost of inaction. You need to visualize where you will be in 5 years if you do not change anything. Most people use visualization to dream about Ferraris and mansions, but I want you to use visualization to scare yourself into action. Imagine waking up 5 years from now in the exact same bed, with the exact same bank account, the exact same body, and the exact same regrets. That should terrify you more than the pain of hard work ever could. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. You are going to suffer either way, so you might as well choose the suffering that leads to growth rather than the suffering that leads to decay. The next 6 months are going to be uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the price of admission for the life you say you want. The old version of you is dead, and the new version is waiting to be built. Chapter 2. Discipline starts with your first hour. If you lose the first hour of the day, you have likely lost the entire day. This is not a theory, this is a tactical reality. Most people start their day in a state of chaotic reaction rather than calculated action. They wake up late, they rush through their morning routine, they pour caffeine into a dehydrated body, and they immediately surrender their attention to the demands of other people. If you cannot control your morning, you cannot control your life. The first hour of your day is the rudder that steers the ship. If the rudder is broken or pointing in the wrong direction, it does not matter how hard you row for the rest of the day, because you are already off course. For the next 6 months, your morning routine is not about self-care or feeling good. It is about establishing immediate dominance over your own mind. You need to win the first battle of the day so that you have the momentum to win the war. The first defeat. The battle begins the moment your alarm rings. For most people, this is also the moment of their first defeat. When you hit the snooze button, you are starting your day with an act of weakness. You set a goal the night before to wake up at a specific time, and within seconds of opening your eyes, you broke that promise to yourself. You chose 6 minutes of low-quality sleep over your own integrity. Do not underestimate the psychological damage of the snooze button. When you hit snooze, you are training your subconscious mind that your goals are negotiable. You are teaching yourself that it is acceptable to quit when things are slightly uncomfortable. If you cannot even summon the discipline to get out of bed when you said you would, how do you expect to have the discipline to build a business, transform your body, or master a new skill? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Stop negotiating with the alarm clock. When it rings, your feet must hit the floor before your brain has time to complain. The digital leash. The second mistake that destroys your momentum is picking up your phone immediately after waking up. This is a behavior that we are going to eliminate completely for the next 6 months. When you open your phone and check your emails, text messages, or social media feeds, you are immediately entering a reactive state. You are allowing the world to dictate your emotional state before you have even brushed your teeth. When you scroll through social media in bed, you are looking at the curated lives of other people instead of building your own. When you check your email, you are looking at a list of other people's priorities, not your own. You are serving your boss, your friends, and the algorithm before you have served yourself. You need to protect your brain waves in the morning. Upon waking, your brain is in a highly suggestible state, and if you flood it with cortisol and cheap dopamine, you ruin your ability to focus for hours. For the first 60 minutes of the day, your phone should be in airplane mode or in another room. The Victory Hour Protocol. We are going to replace your chaotic morning with a protocol I call the Victory Hour. This is not complicated, but it is non-negotiable. The goal is to prime your biology and your psychology for peak performance. First, you must hydrate. You have just gone 8 hours without water, and your brain is dehydrated. Before you touch coffee or food, you need to drink 500 milliliters of water. This simple act jumpstarts your metabolism and clears the brain fog faster than caffeine ever could. You cannot have a high-performance mind in a low-performance body. Second, you must move. I am not asking you to run a marathon at 5 a.m., but you need to get your blood flowing. Do 50 push-ups, go for a brisk walk outside, or do a 10-minute stretching routine. The purpose here is to signal to your body that sleep is over and it is time to hunt. Motion creates emotion. If you feel sluggish and tired, it is because you are stagnant. Third, you must plan. Before you engage with the world, you need to look at your list of objectives for the day. What are the 3 critical tasks that must be completed to move the needle forward? If you do not have a plan, you become a part of someone else's plan. Take 5 minutes to visualize exactly how you are going to execute your day. If you win the morning, you win the day. If you lose the morning, you spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. The silence of success. There is a power in the early morning that you cannot find at any other time of day. The world is quiet. The emails have not started coming in yet. The distractions are asleep. This is the only time of day that truly belongs to you. Successful people understand that this silence is a weapon. While your competition is sleeping or scrolling through their phones in a daze, you are already awake, hydrated, and mentally prepared to attack your goals. By the time the rest of the world wakes up at 8 a.m., you have already accomplished more than they will accomplish all day. This creates a massive psychological edge. You walk into your job or your business knowing that you are already ahead. You have already paid the price. Confidence comes from evidence, and a disciplined morning is the daily evidence that you are a person of value. For the next 6 months, the morning is your sanctuary. It is the foundation upon which we will build everything else. Do not compromise it. Do not shorten it. Do not sleep through it. Chapter 3. Stop negotiating with yourself. The greatest enemy you will face in the next 6 months is not the external world. It is not your lack of resources, and it is not your lack of time. The greatest enemy you will face is the voice in your own head that constantly tries to negotiate you out of doing the work. The human brain is a master negotiator, and unfortunately, it is negotiating for your weakness, not your strength. It wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you safe, and it will come up with the most logical and convincing arguments to explain why you should skip the gym, delay the project, or cheat on your diet just this one time. Every single day, you are engaged in a silent war of negotiation. When the alarm goes off, the negotiation begins. Your brain says it is too cold, you are too tired, and 5 more minutes will not hurt. When you sit down to work, the negotiation continues. Your brain says you need to check your email first, or that you need a snack, or that you will feel more creative later in the afternoon. If you engage in this negotiation, you have already lost. The moment you entertain the option of not doing what you said you would do, your resolve begins to crumble like sand. The two voices. You must understand that there are two distinct voices operating within your consciousness. The first voice is the voice of your lower self. This is the voice of biology, survival, and fear. It is loud, it is persistent, and it is terrified of pain and discomfort. This voice is the one that tells you to take the easy path. It is the voice that whispers that you have done enough for today. The second voice is the voice of your higher self. This is the voice of your potential, your ambition, and your discipline. This voice is often much quieter, and it is easily drowned out by the noise of your excuses. Your job for the next 6 months is to mute the first voice and amplify the second one. You must reach a point where the lower voice is not even allowed to the table. When the thought of quitting arises, you must crush it with such immediate force that your brain learns to stop suggesting it. The 2-second rule. Hesitation is the death of progress. The moment you hesitate before doing a difficult task, you open the door for the negotiator to walk in. If you look at your running shoes and think about how cold it is outside for more than 2 seconds, you will likely talk yourself out of running. If you look at a difficult email and think about the stress it will cause for more than 2 seconds, you will likely procrastinate sending it. To stop negotiating, you must implement the 2-second rule. When you know what needs to be done, you must move your body before your mind has time to object. Do not think, just move. Put on the shoes, open the laptop, pick up the phone. You must bypass the analytical part of your brain that seeks to protect you from discomfort, and you must act with a speed that renders your excuses irrelevant. Action must precede thought, because if you wait for the thought to be perfect, the action will never happen. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation of your life. Stop letting the weak version of you do all the talking. Feelings are irrelevant. The core of the negotiation is almost always based on your feelings. You do not feel like working out. You do not feel like reading. You do not feel like waking up early. I need you to understand a fundamental truth that separates the elite from the average. Your feelings are irrelevant to your mission. The mission does not care if you are tired. The market does not care if you are sad. The weights in the gym do not care if you are unmotivated. Stop asking yourself how you feel about the work and just do the work. You are not a child who needs to be coaxed into doing chores. You are an adult who has decided to change their life. If you only do the work when you feel good, you will never build anything of substance. You must learn to detach your performance from your emotional state. You can be tired and still execute. You can be anxious and still execute. You can be depressed and still execute. The action is independent of the feeling. Burn the boats. The best way to stop negotiating is to remove the option of retreat. In ancient warfare, generals would sometimes burn their own ships upon landing on enemy shores. This sent a clear message to the soldiers that there was no way home. They would either conquer the enemy or they would die on that battlefield. There was no plan B, so there was no negotiation. For the next 6 months, you need to burn your boats. Remove the safety nets that allow you to fall back into your old habits. Delete the apps that distract you. Throw away the junk food in your house. Cut off the friends who encourage you to be lazy. Make it impossible to fail quietly. If you leave yourself an exit strategy, your brain will eventually take it. But if the only way forward is through the fire, you will find a strength you did not know you possessed. The negotiation is over. The contract is signed. You have 6 months to deliver on your promise. Chapter 4. Learn to do what is boring. We live in a culture that worships the outcome but despises the process. You see the athlete standing on the podium with the gold medal, and you want that glory. You see the entrepreneur ringing the opening bell at the stock exchange, and you want that wealth. You see the influencer traveling the world, and you want that freedom. But you are looking at the highlight reel while ignoring the thousands of hours of unsexy, repetitive, and mind-numbing work that made those moments possible. The biggest lie you have been sold is that following your passion will always feel exciting. You have been told that if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. That is absolute nonsense. Even if you love the destination, the journey is going to be filled with long stretches of monotony. If you cannot tolerate boredom, you cannot achieve mastery. The ability to do the same boring task over and over again with the same level of intensity and focus is the single greatest predictor of success. The novelty trap. When you start this 6-month journey, you will feel a surge of energy. This is called novelty. The brain loves new things. Buying the gym membership feels good. Setting up the website feels good. Cleaning off your desk feels good. But novelty is a finite resource. It burns hot and it burns fast. Usually around week 3 or week 4, the novelty wears off. The gym is no longer a new adventure. It is just a heavy, painful obligation. The business is no longer a fun idea. It is just a list of problems to solve. This is the moment where 99% of people quit. They mistake the loss of excitement for a sign that they are on the wrong path. They think, maybe this isn't for me, or I should try something else. They are chasing the high of the start. But you are not here to start things. You are here to finish them. When the excitement dies, that is not the end. That is the beginning of the real work. That is when the discipline kicks in. Embracing the plateau. There will be weeks during these 6 months where you feel like you are making absolutely no progress. You will be waking up early, eating right, and working hard, but the scale will not move and the bank account will not grow. This is called the plateau. The plateau is the filter that separates the contenders from the pretenders. It is the universe testing your resolve to see how badly you actually want it. Most people panic when they hit a plateau. They try to change their strategy, buy a new course, or switch goals entirely. Do not do this. You must stay the course. You must understand that results are often delayed. You are like a bamboo tree that waters its roots for 5 years without breaking the ground, only to grow 90 feet in 6 weeks. The work you do in the dark, when nothing is happening, is the work that builds the foundation for the explosive growth that comes later. Amateurs look for excitement. Professionals look for consistency. If you want to be a professional, you have to fall in love with the boredom. The monk mindset. To survive the boredom, you must adopt what I call the monk mindset. Monks do not sweep the floor because they enjoy sweeping. They sweep the floor because it is the task in front of them, and they do it with total presence and excellence. You must learn to find peace in the repetition. Instead of resenting the daily tasks, view them as a form of meditation. When you are writing that report, do not wish you were somewhere else. Be fully there. When you are lifting that weight, do not think about how many sets are left. Focus on the contraction of the muscle. Greatness is not one massive action. It is 1,000 small, boring actions stacked on top of each other over a long period of time. The person who can endure the most boredom is the person who will eventually win. Kill the multitasking. One of the reasons you struggle with boredom is because you are addicted to multitasking. You cannot just walk. You have to listen to a podcast. You cannot just work. You have to have a video playing in the background. You are terrified of silence. For the next 6 months, I want you to practice the art of doing one thing at a time. When you eat, just eat. When you read, just read. When you work, just work. Retrain your brain to be comfortable with low stimulation environments. By lowering your stimulation baseline, the boring work will actually start to feel satisfying. You will begin to enter a flow state where time disappears, not because you are entertained, but because you are deeply engaged. Stop trying to escape the work and start immersing yourself in it. The magic you are looking for is in the work you are avoiding. Go do the boring thing and do it better than anyone else. Chapter 5. Cut everything that weakens your focus. Most people think that to get to the next level of their life, they need to add more things. They think they need more strategies, more apps, more friends, and more information. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how transformation works. Success is not the result of addition. Success is the result of subtraction. It is about stripping away the non-essential, the distracting, and the parasitic elements of your life until only the mission remains. You are currently carrying a backpack filled with stones. These stones are your bad habits, your toxic relationships, your digital addictions, and your cluttered environment. You are wondering why you are exhausted and why you cannot move fast, but you refuse to take off the backpack. For the next 6 months, you must become a surgeon of your own life. You must cut out the cancer that is killing your potential, and you must do it without hesitation or apology. The vampire circle. The hardest cut you will have to make is often the people around you. There is an old saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but I want you to take this even more seriously. If you hang around with 5 people who are broke, you will be the 6th. If you hang around with 5 people who complain, you will be the 6th. Energy is contagious, and mediocrity is a virus that spreads through social contact. Look at your current circle. Do your friends inspire you to level up, or do they comfort you in your stagnation? Do they talk about ideas and growth, or do they talk about other people and cheap entertainment? If your friends are anchors that are holding you down, you have a choice to make. You can either stay loyal to them and drown, or you can cut the rope and swim. For the next 6 months, you may need to walk alone. Solitude is dangerous for the weak, but it is necessary for the strong. Do not be afraid of being lonely. Be afraid of being surrounded by people who do not see your vision. Weapons of mass distraction. We touched on the phone in the morning, But now we must address your digital environment as a whole. Your phone is a weapon of mass distraction designed by thousands of engineers to steal your attention and sell it to advertisers. Every notification on your screen is a request for you to stop building your dream and start building theirs. You are hemorrhaging focus every single time your phone buzzes. You must reclaim your attention span. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Delete the apps that you scroll through mindlessly. If an app does not make you money or make you smarter, it does not belong on your home screen. If you cannot control your device, you are not the user. You are the product. You need to create friction between you and your bad habits. Put the phone in another room when you work. Use website blockers. Make it difficult to be distracted so that it becomes easier to be productive. If you want to fly, you have to give up the things that weigh you down. Clean your cage. Your external environment is a direct reflection of your internal state. If your car is messy, your desk is cluttered, and your room is chaotic, I guarantee your mind is chaotic as well. Visual clutter creates mental noise. It is impossible to have crystal clear focus when you are surrounded by piles of unfinished business and trash. This weekend, you are going to clean your cage. You are going to organize your workspace so that it looks like a cockpit for success, not a dumping ground for failure. You are going to throw away the clothes you do not wear, fix the things that are broken, and scrub the floors. When you bring order to your physical space, you signal to your subconscious that you are a person of order and discipline. This is not just cleaning. This is preparing the battlefield for the war you are about to fight. The power of saying no. To protect your focus, you must become a master of the word no. For the next 6 months, your default answer to almost everything should be no. No to the happy hour after work. No to the weekend trip that blows your budget. No to the favor that takes up your Sunday afternoon. Every time you say yes to something that is not your priority, you are saying no to your own future. People will get offended. They will call you boring. They will say you have changed. Good. Let them talk. You are not here to be popular. You are here to be effective. You have a limited amount of time and energy every day, and you must guard it like it is the last water in the desert. If it does not help you achieve your 6-month goal, it is a distraction, and it must be eliminated immediately. Focus is not just about what you look at. It is about what you refuse to see. Chapter 6. Emotional control is discipline. If you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your money, your time, or your future. You are effectively a leaf blowing in the wind, reacting to every gust of air that hits you. Most people believe that discipline is purely physical, that it is just about waking up early and lifting heavy weights. But the highest form of discipline is actually emotional. It is the ability to feel a powerful wave of anger, sadness, or fear, and not let that wave dictate your actions. We live in a society that tells you to follow your feelings. We are told that if something feels bad, we should stop, and if something makes us angry, we should lash out. This is the advice of the week. Your feelings are not facts. They are biological suggestions, and often they are terrible navigators. If you navigated a ship based purely on the changing winds without ever checking the compass, you would end up lost at sea. Your emotions are the wind, but your principles are the compass. You must learn to stay on course regardless of the storm raging inside your chest. The gap between stimulus and response. There is a concept in Stoic philosophy that you must master over the next 6 months. It is the realization that there is a gap between what happens to you and how you react to it. This gap is where your freedom lies. When someone insults you, there is a gap before you get angry. When a business deal falls through, there is a gap before you feel defeated. Most people have closed this gap so tight that they run on autopilot. They are slaves to their immediate emotional impulses. To change your life, you must widen this gap. You must become the observer of your own mind. When the anger rises, you do not become the anger. You simply watch it. You say to yourself, "I am feeling anger right now," and then you decide logically what to do with it. This is the difference between a child and a king. A child reacts immediately to pain. A king pauses, assesses the situation, and acts in a way that serves his long-term vision. You must cultivate the pause. In that pause, you find your power. Dark energy as fuel. I am not telling you to be a robot. I am not telling you to suppress your emotions until you explode. I am telling you to transmute them. Negative emotions are a potent source of energy if you know how to harness them. Anger, frustration, and even spite can be powerful fuels for your engine when motivation runs out. When someone doubts you, do not waste your energy arguing with them. Take that anger and pour it into your work. Let it be the fire that keeps you awake when you want to sleep. Let it be the force that pushes you through the last rep at the gym. Success is the best revenge. Do not text them back. Outwork them. Take all that dark energy that usually consumes you and use it to build your empire. The best way to silence your critics is to become so successful that they have to watch you win from the sidelines. He who angers you conquers you. If you allow someone else to dictate your emotional state, you have given them the keys to your life. Calm is a superpower. In a world of chaos, the person who remains calm is the leader. Look at any high-pressure situation, whether it is a boardroom crisis or a literal battlefield. The person screaming and panicking is never the one in charge. The one in charge is the one who has their heart rate under control, who is breathing deeply, and who is thinking clearly while everyone else is losing their mind. For the next 6 months, you are going to practice aggressive calmness. When things go wrong, and they will go wrong, you are not allowed to complain. You are not allowed to throw a tantrum. You are going to look the problem in the eye and say, "Good." This is a chance to practice patience. This is a chance to practice problem solving. Panic is a waste of resources. It burns glucose and energy that you should be using to find a solution. Train yourself to be the eye of the hurricane. Do not be fragile. We are currently living through an epidemic of fragility. People are offended by everything. They are hurt by words, by ideas, and by reality itself. You cannot afford to be fragile if you want to be exceptional. The path to the top is rough. You will be criticized. You will be rejected. You will fail publicly. If you shatter like glass every time you hit a bump in the road, you will never make it to the destination. You must build an emotional callus. Just like your hands get tougher when you lift weights, your mind must get tougher when you face adversity. Stop protecting yourself from difficulty and start exposing yourself to it. The more comfortable you can become with discomfort, the more dangerous you become to your competition. Emotional control is not about not feeling. It is about feeling everything and still doing exactly what needs to be done. This is the armor you will wear for the rest of your journey. Chapter 7. Become someone you can trust. We talk a lot about confidence in this world, but most people have no idea where confidence actually comes from. They think it comes from affirmations, or standing in a superhero pose, or shouting at the mirror that they are successful. Confidence does not come from shouting. Confidence comes from a track record of keeping promises to yourself. The reason you act with hesitation, the reason you feel like an imposter, and the reason you are anxious about the future is because deep down, in the darkest corner of your mind, you do not trust yourself. Think about your relationship with a friend who constantly lies to you. They say they will meet you at 7 p.m., but they show up at 8 p.m. They say they will pay you back the money they borrowed, but they never do. They say they will help you move, but they flake at the last minute. Do you trust this person? Do you respect this person? Of course not. You view them as unreliable and weak. Now look in the mirror. You are that friend to yourself. You said you would wake up early and you hit snooze. You said you would eat clean and you ordered the pizza. You said you would finish the project and you watched television instead. You have spent years, maybe decades, lying to the face in the mirror. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you are carving a groove of failure into your psychology. You have taught your brain that your word means absolutely nothing. This is why you lack confidence. You are not suffering from a lack of ability. You are suffering from a lack of integrity. The reputation with self. The most important reputation you will ever build is not your reputation with your boss, your spouse, or your social media followers. It is your reputation with yourself. When you say, you are going to do something, do you actually believe it? Or is there a voice in the back of your head that says, yeah, right, we have heard this before? For the next 6 months, your primary mission is to rebuild this broken reputation. You need to become a person of your word. If you say you are going to do 50 push-ups, you do 50 push-ups, not 49. If you say you are going to read 10 pages, you read 10 pages, even if your eyes are closing. It does not matter if no one is watching. You are watching. And you are the only judge that matters. When you start keeping these small promises, something magical happens. You start to walk differently. You start to speak differently. You stop hoping you can do it. And you start knowing you can do it. Self-respect is the fruit of discipline. The sense of dignity grows with the ability to say no to oneself. Stop making huge promises. The mistake most people make when they try to fix this relationship is that they swing for the fences too early. They go from zero discipline to trying to be a Navy SEAL overnight. They promise to work out for 2 hours a day, read a book a week, and start a $1 million business all at once. This is a trap. When you set a bar that is impossibly high for your current level of discipline, you are setting yourself up to fail. And when you fail, you reinforce the belief that you are a failure. To rebuild trust, you must start small. Ridiculously small. Make a promise that is so easy you cannot possibly say no to it, and then execute it with military precision. Promise yourself you will drink 1 glass of water when you wake up. Do it. Promise yourself you will make your bed every single morning. Do it. These small wins stack up. They are the bricks that build the cathedral of your character. Once you have mastered the small promises, you can move to the medium promises. Once you master those, you can move to the impossible promises. But you must earn the right to go big. The imposter syndrome cure. You feel like an imposter because, quite frankly, you are acting like one. You are pretending to be a high performer while living the habits of a low performer. The only cure for imposter syndrome is evidence. You cannot think your way out of it. You must act your way out of it. You need undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. When you have stacked 6 months of undeniable proof, 6 months of waking up on time, 6 months of hitting the gym, 6 months of deep work, you will not need to fake confidence anymore. You will not need to pump yourself up with motivational videos. You will have the quiet, dangerous confidence of a person who knows exactly what they are capable of because they have the receipts to prove it. The power of the word. In ancient cultures, words were considered sacred. To speak was to create. For the next 6 months, treat your word as law. Be very careful what you say you will do, because once you say it, you must do it or die trying. If you are not willing to die for it, do not say it. This extreme level of accountability is what separates the elite from the herd. The elite understand that their word is the only currency that matters in the economy of self-respect. If you bankrupt that currency, you are spiritually broke. But if you protect it, if you honor it, you become a force of nature. Become the person who says, "I will," and the universe assumes it is already done. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Start earning yours back today. Chapter 8. Why Consistency Always Wins. We have arrived at the final pillar of your 6-month reset, and it is the one that destroys more dreams than anything else. That pillar is consistency. Most people are addicted to intensity but allergic to consistency. They want to work out for 3 hours on Monday, run 10 miles on Tuesday, and starve themselves on Wednesday, only to crash and burn by Friday. They treat success like a sprint, sprinting as hard as they can until they collapse, while the person who simply walks at a steady pace passes them while they are lying on the ground gasping for air. Intensity makes for a great movie montage. It looks good on social media to show yourself grinding until 2 a.m. But intensity is not sustainable. You cannot redline an engine for 6 months without blowing a gasket. The person who wins is not the person who works the hardest for 2 weeks. The person who wins is the person who does the boring, unsexy work every single day for 6 months without missing a beat. Consistency is not flashy. It does not get applause. But it is the only thing that compounds. The compound effect. You need to understand the mathematical power of small actions repeated over time. If you improve by just 1% every single day, you do not end up being 2 times better at the end of the year. Due to the law of compounding, you end up being 37 times better. The results of consistency are exponential, not linear. The problem is that in the beginning, the curve is flat. You are putting in the work, but you are not seeing the results. You are lifting the weights, but your muscles look the same. You are saving the money, but your bank account still looks small. This is the valley of disappointment. Most people quit here because they do not understand that the results are being stored, not lost. You are like an ice cube sitting in a room that is 25 degrees. You heat it to 26 degrees, then 27, then 28. Nothing happens. The ice is still solid. But the moment you hit 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. All the work you did before was not wasted. It was simply building the energy required for the breakthrough. The bamboo analogy. There is a species of Chinese bamboo tree that teaches us the ultimate lesson in patience and consistency. When you plant the seed, you have to water it and fertilize it every single day. For the first year, you see absolutely nothing. For the second year, you see nothing. For the third and fourth years, you still see nothing. The ground looks exactly the same as the day you planted it. But in the 5th year, something miraculous happens. Within 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 90 feet into the air. Now, did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is obviously 5 years. If the farmer had stopped watering it at any point during those 4 years of invisibility, the tree would have died in the ground. Your next 6 months are likely going to feel like those first 4 years. You are going to be watering the soil of your potential every morning with your discipline, and for a long time, you might see nothing. You must have the faith to keep watering when the ground is barren. You must trust that the roots are growing deep, even if you cannot see the fruit yet. If you stop now, you kill the tree before it ever breaks the surface. Consistency is doing what you said you would do, long after the mood you set it in has left you. The rule of never miss twice. Perfection is impossible. You are human, and you will stumble. You will have a day where you wake up late. You will have a day where you eat the junk food. You will have a day where you miss the workout. One bad day does not destroy a life, but 2 bad days can start a spiral. I want you to adopt the rule of never miss twice. If you miss a workout on Monday, you must work out on Tuesday. If you eat a bad meal at lunch, you must eat a healthy meal at dinner. You must act as your own firewall. Do not let a slip become a slide. Most people let one bad decision ruin their entire week. They think, well, I already messed up my diet today, so I might as well eat garbage for the rest of the weekend. This is loser thinking. This is how you stay average. The champion recognizes the mistake, corrects course immediately, and gets back on the path. The boring truth. We are approaching the end of this audio, and I want to leave you with the boring truth. Changing your life in 6 months is not about finding a magic pill or a secret hack. It is about doing the simple things savagely well. It is about drinking the water. It is about sleeping 8 hours. It is about reading the books. It is about doing the push-ups. It is about saving the money. It is about doing these things on the days when you are sick, on the days when you are sad, and on the days when you would rather be doing anything else. Consistency is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. You have the map, you have the tools, you have the plan. The only variable left in the equation is you. Can you stay on the path for 180 days? Conclusion: 6 months. That change. Everything. We have reached the end of this audio, but you are only at the very beginning of your timeline. You are standing at a fork in the road, and the decision you make in the next 5 minutes will determine the trajectory of your entire life. Whether you choose to execute on this plan, or whether you choose to ignore it, the next 6 months of your life are going to pass regardless. The time is going to vanish. The only question is what you will have to show for it when it is gone. Will you arrive at that future date looking exactly the same, feeling exactly the same, and complaining about the exact same problems? Or will you arrive as a completely different person? Will you be the person who listened to this audio and did nothing? Or will you be the person who listened and went to war? The gap between these two versions of you is not talent, it is not luck, and it is not genetics. The gap is action. The death of the old self. I want you to take a moment to mentally say goodbye to the person you have been up until this moment. That person was necessary to get you here, but that person is not equipped to get you where you are going. The version of you that tolerates mediocrity must die so that the version of you that demands excellence can be born. This is a painful process. It requires you to kill your excuses, kill your comfort, and kill your need for validation. You are going to feel lonely. You are going to feel tired. You are going to doubt yourself. But remember this: discomfort is the price of admission for a life of significance. If it were easy, everyone would be rich, fit, and happy. The fact that it is hard is what makes it valuable. You are joining a very small percentage of the human population that actually does what they say they are going to do. The final contract. This is not just a book you listen to. This is a contract you have signed with your own potential. You have committed to the morning. You have committed to the work. You have committed to the silence. You have committed to the struggle. Do not let this audio be just another dopamine hit that you consume and forget 10 minutes later. Do not let this be another piece of content that makes you feel productive while you remain stagnant. Mark today's date on your calendar. Write it down in permanent ink. Then, count forward 180 days and mark that date as your finish line. Between these two dates lies the battleground. Take a look at your hands. Take a look at the room you are sitting in. Remember this moment, because if you execute on what we just discussed, if you truly commit to the audit, the systems, the body, and the work, 6 months from now, you will not recognize this version of yourself. The talking is over. The planning is over. The dreaming is over. The world is full of talkers. Be the one who does. Your 6 months starts now. This concludes our journey today. Thank you for listening. If you found value in this, please leave a like. It really helps the channel. I'd also love to hear your favorite takeaway in the comments below. Subscribe for more audiobooks, and I'll see you in the next one.